Hello, welcome to another episode of Marty's Home Cooking. Today we're going to do French toast. I have 2 loaves today, so I'm going to double the recipe, but it's a very easy recipe and you can freeze the leftovers so you can have French toast whenever you feel the mood. First we're going to cut some nice thick slices. I just like to cut the little end off so I have a flat edge when I do cook them. I have a plain loaf and I have a raisin, and the kind of bread that I use is challah. Next, what we do with the toast is we put it on a cookie sheet and we bake it at 300 for 10 to 15 minutes. And what that does is it gives you a crust type edge on the bread. It helps in the whole flavor and texture and everything. So we'll be right back. Okay folks, we're ready to get started with our ingredients for our custard while the bread is toasting. So we're going to start with 3 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of butter melted, 1.5 cups of milk. Now remember, I've doubled my recipe here for the 2 loaves. I'm giving you the single recipe count. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients after we mix up our wet ingredients. We have 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, we're going to mix that all up. Okay, we're going to add our brown sugar. Our teaspoon of vanilla. All right, I added my salt, my cinnamon, my brown sugar, and my vanilla. I'm going to add my butter now. I'm going to give it a little stir before I add the milk. A little whisk. Make sure it's all blended together good. There we go. And it's a nice little tool to have, is a couple of these things for ever dredging your things like chicken, fish, anything you need to put into a batter or a flour mixture. It's good to have one of these, because all you do is just pour all your stuff right in there. And we are ready to take the bread out and then get started. All right, we're back. I'm ready to do my soaking of my bread in the custard. But first I want to give you a little tip. I save my bread wrappers so that I can just put all the leftover French toast back in the bread wrapper that it came in because it makes for great storage. Now we're going to soak our bread. It's got a nice crisp edge on both sides. So we just soak that for a little while, a few minutes. Just takes a little bit to absorb into the bread. And then we just rest it right back onto the baking trays that we toasted the bread on before we put it on the griddle. The griddle is heating up as we do this. When you pre-soak it like this, it gives it a little bit of a resting time for the bread to soak in all that wonderful custard. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. We've pre-soaked all of our bread in our custard, and now we're going to butter up our griddle because it's nice and hot. And we are going to put this delicious stuff right on the griddle. All right, we are ready to flip these. It is smelling good in here. Look at how wonderful. Yummy. All right, we're back, and these are smelling up the house. They look delicious, and we're going to butter up the pan again to put our second batch down while we eat some of our first ones. And it's good to have a cooling rack ready so that you have a place to put all of your toasts. And we're just going to put these on here. So let's get this thing going here. Put a little butter on it. And then we're going to have a little syrup on it. There you go, folks. French toast right off the griddle. Have a great day. Okay, just a quick tip, also a PS, if you will, on our little French toast video. When I freeze them, I put a piece of parchment paper in between each slice so when they freeze, they don't stick together. And then we can toast them individually as we like. Enjoy!